Good day, welcome back. We are going to discuss today a little bit further about what is all the components within the fuel price. We're going to have a look. Previously we had discussed the basic fuel price, that is half of the component of what your fuel price actually consists out of. But today we're going to discuss all the other forms of costs that sits in there, and unfortunately a component of that is taxes as well. So if you have a look at what does the fuel price consist out of, what is secondary storage? That's the component that the fuel price makes provision for when you do ship the product from the coastal sides up inland and it needs to be stored. So that gives the value for that storage component. Secondary distribution costs. That is when the product needs to be transported from the secondary storage to the fuel stations. So that is a transport cost that excludes the primary one, which is mostly the pipeline that we have from Durban to Johannesburg. Zone differential. Zone differential is a component within your fuel price that takes into account the transport of the fuel into the different zones within the country. The country is divided up in certain zones where certain petrol pricing needs to be applied. That will give that everybody at least gets to cover their costs. IP tracer levy. That's a levy that's been charged on diesel for the fact that to try and stop the blending of product and the mixing of product with paraffin. That is a component for the dye that you need to pay in your diesel price so that they can put the dye in the IP itself. And then obviously the worst component within the petrol price is the fuel levy. The fuel levy is determined by the Minister of Finance, which is actually just the tax where the money goes to Treasury. Customs and excise duties, that is for the import of the product, and that is per the agreement with the unions what needs to be levied and has been transferred to them. Road accident fund levy. That's a levy that gets paid over to the road accident fund to assist in payouts for motorists that gets into car accidents. Petroleum product levy is the component in the fuel price that has been determined by NERSA, the National Energy Regulator of South Africa, that compensates for the funds used to transport the fuel through the pipeline, which effectively becomes Transnet's funds. Slate levy. That's the levy that's been charged to ensure that all the under-recoveries that incurs within the industry itself, that there's a fund that can compensate for that. The demand side management levy is a levy to discourage all the users inland of 95 petrol, but rather to use 93. So it's actually a levy that increases the price of 95 to try and prevent the use of 95 within the inland areas. Then the last component is pump rounding. That you will see when the cents needs to be rounded off to the closest cent and to get rid of the decimals in the process.